April, welcome to OB Boss Babes.
Thank you for having us.
We're here at the June Motel. I cannot believe that this moment is finally happening. This is just a surreal, pinch me moment, but we're here and we're doing this. So I think we have to start off by just doing a little cheers. And thank you guys for being a part of the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right, ladies, let's go back right to the starting because you guys are two best friends who turned into business partners and co-owners of two hugely successful businesses. But let's go back to the beginning, ladies, because I want to know how you two first initially met.
I think Sarah and I have been friends for, are we at 20 years?
Oh, we're getting close.
So close to 20 years. We met in London, Ontario. We both went to Western University. And we met in a sorority.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you guys go to school for?
We both did business.
Okay, and then so you guys met at school, you were in the sorority together. How did your paths lead you guys then to embarking on entrepreneurship? Who had the idea for the motel, I guess, is where I want to start.
I think, just the super fast version of the decade between when we met and when we became entrepreneurs. Both of us were living in Toronto, both of us working in slightly more corporate jobs. I was working for the Ontario government. April was working in public relations. And we had great careers, but started getting to this place where we were just ready for our own adventure. Started to get that entrepreneurial bug. And it was January 1st, 2016, where the two of us got together and we're like, okay, this is the year we're gonna change our lives, do something new. And so I started brainstorming all these business ideas. And there was one idea that kind of got us excited. So, yeah.
It was this idea, it was adult wine camp. So first of all, we knew that we wanted to do something in Prince Edward County because we had been coming out to the county with our girlfriends for a couple of years prior to that. We'd seen that there was such an opportunity here. There was some buzz and all of our friends were starting to come out. We didn't at this point have any dreams of owning a motel, but we were just brainstorming tons of different ideas. And so we were like, we liked this adult wine camp idea. We're like, okay, let's go find a place that we could host it for a weekend. At this point, it's a side hustle. It's a weekend lawn event. And Sarah goes, oh, there's this motel that's for sale in Prince Edward County. Maybe we could just take over the motel for the weekend, host our event. We'll fix the rooms up so they're to our event standard. And we're as we start thinking through this idea, we both kind of are we should buy that motel. And it was a week later in the middle of winter that we are, out here with a real estate agent, walking through the motel. And it was about 3 months after that we're literally packing our bags, leaving Toronto, moving to a town of 4,000 people, and moving into a motel that was called the Sportsman Motel at the time. There was an apartment above the lobby bar,
which we are currently in.
We are in, and I promise you it did not look like this when we moved in. But yeah, we moved in to this rundown, dingy motel. It was a popular stay at the time for fishermen and hunters. It was the gross carpets and the floral bedspreads, and the only art in the room was the sign that says "No gutting fish in room."
Oh my gosh!
There was a fish gutting station on property, just to paint the picture.
And I bet a stench of fish smell too.
It was not great.
No,
it was just it was musty,
Yeah.
It was old. And so we move in on June 1st. By June 3rd, we were operating a sold out motel as the Sportsman Motel because the previous owners had taken reservations for the entire summer. So here we are, two people who've never worked in a motel before, don't have a single staff member. We're checking in 16 rooms, we're cleaning rooms, we're emptying garbages, we're making beds, we're doing laundry. It was such a crazy experience. And we operated as is for that entire first summer.
Okay, so I want to go back a little bit
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I literally, when I was first like discovering your story, I literally thought that maybe one of you were driving by old motels and being like, I've got this idea, or like just having that vision of I could really like flip this and make this into something better, because I feel like that's a lot of the time with interior decorators and
Yeah.
people just with an eye for design to say like, oh, I could do something with this. But the fact that you guys literally just came across this motel on a whim for like an adult wine camp weekend.
And I would say, like, we had a passion for wine and travel and creating really cool experiences. Like, we were
Yes.
really excited about those things. And we had seen other motels, in places like California or Miami that, had turned into kind of a boutique hotel concept. So
Mm.
this wasn't a foreign idea when we kind of thought, oh, we should maybe buy the motel. It wasn't that, we had that picture in our head. We understood the opportunity that could be, but yeah, buying a motel was not like the lead idea.
Mm.
It wasn't like, we've dreamt about buying a hotel for 10 years and
Yeah.
we finally did it. That just wasn't our story.
Okay, so you guys decide that you're going to embark on this path. What do you say to your spouses? And what did they say? What was their response?
Spouses. So boyfriend at the time, he was so supportive. Like it's sad to say, I barely remember his response. The big one for me was my parents.
Mm.
And like, had a great job with the government, had a pension, had healthcare, and to say, hey, gonna leave this job and buy a motel. I remember them being so shocked at that news. And I think it took them a beat, like 24 hours maybe, of like, what is our daughter doing?
Mhm.
And they have been so incredibly supportive. Once they're like, okay, she's really doing this, they just everything that they could do to support our growth along the way.
Eva, what about you?
I was single at the time, so
Didn't have anybody ask or bounce that off of?
Nope. Similar to Sarah, I think, my parents also had like a little bit of shock. I remember my dad saying to me, oh, I didn't know you wanted to make beds for the rest of your life. Great, go ahead. I think it was this idea that they saw it in a certain light, but I don't think either of our parents really understood the vision
Mhm.
until like it was open and it was successful. And they're like, oh, okay, I see where you were going with that.
But I think it takes that time though, right? Like
Yeah.
we come from like a society and with boomer parents who worked their entire lives mostly at the same jobs
Yeah.
that mostly did have pensions and benefits, and it was secure and it was sustainable because you're getting a regular income. And when you're saying like, I need to take out a very hefty loan to be able to purchase a property, I'm going to quit my job and leave that security to embark on this new path, and fingers crossed, hope it works out. And we also don't know that the pandemic is coming.
Yeah, exactly.
It still looked like a dump here too.
Yeah.
So I think April and I had that vision to be able to see beyond that, but not everyone has that. So they just had to sort of trust us, go with it. And our first motel, we were doing it on such a limited budget. It was also like, not only like support us emotionally, but come and like help us wallpaper and paint and assemble furniture and lay flooring. And that's when I really roped in my boyfriend and got his support.
So when did you guys quit your jobs? Like how long after you guys had purchased the motel did you guys like give your resignation notices?
I quit mine before. I was at the point where I was like, I was burnt out. I was going through, a bit of a mental breakdown. And I just needed time. So I was like, you know what? If this isn't the idea, I trust that there's going to be another one. I needed that time and space, and I'm pretty happy I had it before we embarked on this journey.
I, on the other hand, financially wasn't quite prepared to quit my job right away. So I was side hustling this for our first season. So I'd work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And then I would go home and I did our bookkeeping for the first couple years, responding to guest emails. So like every evening was spent working on the business. And then every weekend I would drive out here and check in fishermen to the motel. But it was once we were getting to the stage of like wrapping up that operate as is and like we're gonna jump in and like we're gonna create a brand, we're gonna do the renovations. And like I was loving, even as the sportsman, like I loved this business. I was so passionate about it. And I just knew this other the other job was coming to an end. So it took me a couple months of side hustling, and then I was all in.
Now, you guys are purchasing this motel at a time when Airbnbs were becoming popular, right? Everybody was renovating Airbnbs to make them bougie and unique and fun and really create that experience. Nobody was really navigating towards motels. So like, what were you guys thinking with that? Because like now you're in a really highly competitive market. You're in a place that's really blowing up. It's been growing in popularity for bachelorettes and weddings and tourists. So like, why a motel? Like in that sense?
You know, if we had the money to buy like waterfront resort or a beautiful old inn, I'm pretty sure we would have bought those things. Motels were cheap, especially back in 2016. We bought this motel in Prince Edward County for the same price that our friends were buying houses at the time in Toronto. And so it was achievable. And, you know, we saw the motel, not just because it was a motel and that, you know, we had seen that other places, you know, motels were turning into boutique motels and well-designed spaces and all of that. But we saw the motels like a vehicle for creating experiences for our guests in wine country. So it almost didn't matter that it was motel. It was still like, it can be a cute, trendy room. We could have a lobby bar that we, you know, check our guests in with a welcome glass of wine. So we saw it more for the experience that we were able to create here.
So after opening the June, it blew up on the socials and in the media. It attracted the likes of Vogue, Toronto Life, Travel and Leisure, Enroute, and hundreds of bloggers and content creators and influencers. So they wanted to experience the June and enjoy all the bouginess and the boho vibes that you guys were offering. Now, did you guys think though that it would gain the response from high profile media outlets and influencers and blow up as quickly as it did?
That's a good question. So I came from a marketing and PR background. So this is literally what I was doing for 10 years before starting the June. So I certainly brought that mindset to this project. And I think from day one, it was very much like, okay, what do we want the rooms to look like? What do we want the lobby to look like? What's the photo moment going to be? Because, you know, 2016, like Instagram was sort of like peaking. Well, it's not peaking, but I think brands were starting to leverage social media in new ways, and influencer marketing was really changing the game. So for us, it was very much about creating a place that would shine on a social media platform like Instagram. And so we were really intentional about it from the beginning, I would say, really thinking about what that marketing story was going to be, what would our guests be sharing. And then when we did open, nobody knew who the June was, but we had a spot in Prince Edward County, and frankly, at the time, it was the Drake, a bunch of other motels, and
a couple Airbnbs.
Not nearly as many as there are today. Lots of B&Bs, but you know, not a lot that spoke to millennial women, I would say. So that was really our niche. And so we filled the rooms with influencers, with media outlets in Toronto. We had the relationships with them from, you know, my previous job. And I think that just kind of started that spiral. But I'd say the thing we didn't predict is that we would be the story. You know, I remember the Toronto Star coming and, you know, us being interviewed on The Social in the first year. And the story was really like these two best friends bought a motel and renovated it. And I think we didn't see that in the beginning. We just, you know, we invited media and influencers out to, you know, have the June experience. We wanted to be in the background. But people really gravitated to the story behind the brand. And so we started to lean into that more and more over the years. Obviously, Netflix show has really like propelled that story to even the next level. But I think, you know, people really want to feel connected to the places they stay and the products they buy and all of those things. And so us, you know, authentically sharing our journey has really just created a fan base and followers who, you know, choose to stay with us, choose to then go to Sauble Beach and stay at our other properties. So
you guys have your first motel, you're designing it, you've got the vibe, you've got the colors, but now you need a name. Who came up with the June?
I don't really remember. We brainstormed hundreds of names. And the June, where that name came from or who it came from is so long ago now.
Yeah.
But it was a name that really resonated with us. And we've been through this exercise a few times of like hundreds of names. We'll go on a long car ride and just go back and forth. But the June really stuck for a few reasons. One, we opened in June the very first time. But it also has that like summery feel. And then the part that we really love about it as well that really fit with the brand was it's also a woman's name. And it's particularly like a very popular name back in the 60s when our motel first opened. And so we now have this thing where June is like a bit of our alter ego, and we use her to personify the brand. And even sometimes when we're asking ourselves questions about the business or questions about the decor or the vibe of a property. So for Sauble Beach, the process that we went through is like, June, she has a beach house in this retro beach town. And so you just like, you put yourself into June's shoes to think through some of these decisions. And what are some of the words we use to describe June?
Yeah, she's retro. She's like a little eclectic. She's bold. She's, feminine. She marches to the beat of her own drum.
She's your trendy best friend.
She's your trendy best friend.
She's a great host.
She's always chilling in a bottle of rosé. And I think, we take that personality and we try and make, our properties and our spaces feel like her.
I love that. I love that because she sounds like a genuine person that everybody wants to hang out with and be a part of. And I mean, the fact that she's always got a chilled bottle of wine waiting in the fridge for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's a win for everybody. I mean, I want to be going to her place and sitting on that couch and chilling, no pun intended, with her. And it's funny that you guys are calling your business a her and a she, like you're using those pronouns. And I actually had a conversation with another business owner on my podcast about this, and I never even heard of that, right? Because they start out as your baby and then they turn into a toddler and then they grow and they grow and evolve and mature along with you and your brand and your business, right?
Totally.
Like you're a new mom with this business that you're just navigating. Like first time mom, like you get it. Like, and that's how I kind of see your business. And so like, why not put a pronoun on them and see them grow and celebrate, all their milestones and their birthdays and yours. Like it really is a child that's turning into a toddler and growing into
we're in like
else.
the teenage years.
Yeah.
We think now. Like
it's like a dog's life. Like it's just Okay, so now I want to talk about the design process. So who had the knack? So who had the eye and the knack for creating spaces and designing pieces? Like when I was watching your show, I'm blown away by the creativity because I literally go into a home sense and I don't even know what I'm grabbing, or I don't know what pieces would look good in a room until like someone else does that for me. So who would you say has the creative eye?
I think we really share that part. So when we started on this project, we're not interior designers by trade. We'd had very, very little experience renovating or designing anything. I had given my apartment in Toronto like a bit of a design refresh, and Sarah had been, renovating her cottage in Prince Edward County. And those are like really the only experiences that we had dabbling in renovations and design until we started on this project. And the budget was tight. So we didn't have money to hire, big interior designers and all of that. And I think for us, it was like really one of the things that we do at every property, and it started here, was we create a prototype room. So we gutted one room ourselves and we just started to put it together, and we test, different furniture. We had this wallpaper we really loved. We tried different paint with it, different curtains with it. And so we sort of like stumbled our way through it a little, like figuring it out ourselves and seeing what really resonates with us, what looks good together. So I'd say we're both very creative in that sense, and we both love following what other hotels are doing, what other designers are doing. So we get a lot of creativity from Instagram, from Pinterest, from all of those sources, magazines. But yeah, it was us figuring it out along the way, frankly.
Well, and I love supporting and plugging local businesses, and especially because we are right here in the county. So, who were some of your favorite local businesses to shop from where you got a lot of the pieces here at the June?
County Traders, which is like a thrift store. Our budget was so tight,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, we were just buying like, I don't know, some pieces. I'm sure there's still a few around, like a lot of vintage pieces, because one, we love the style. Two, fit in our budget. And three, also like a very sustainable choice as well to go vintage.
I particularly remember us sourcing, so we have a peacock chair in like every single room here at the June in Prince Edward County. And we were sourcing these off of like Kijiji at the time, and like driving across Ontario for these chairs to put one in each room. Like it'd be like a month before opening, we had like 12 of the 16 chairs, and we'd be like scouring Kijiji. Oh, there's one in London, Ontario, who's going? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Literally road tripping across Ontario for these chairs.
Yeah.
Like, but when you have like an eye for a specific piece and you need that consistency, if it's in one room, it's got to be in all of them.
Yeah.
You're gonna make those moves.
And we were just kind of amateurs at the time also. Like we had no idea how to do it better or more efficiently, and our budget was tight, and so it was just us, putting all of that work in. I think as we got to, the next project in Sauble, like it got much more professional in terms of, having a proper construction team and being able to source everything. And
I would say the other small business locally that we spent a lot of time and money at was Quinty Paint, which is our local paint and wallpaper store, where we have like 4 different colors of pink. Now we probably had 20 different samples of these colors. And the wallpaper as well being really one of the defining pieces of the whole aesthetic here. And just taking like all the wallpaper books, flipping through them, which was so fun, usually with a bottle of rosé by our side. And we found this one that's like super tropical. I will give April credit for choosing like the bold statement wallpaper, which became something that we were known for. I wasn't like decor-wise, I wasn't quite there. I was like bare neutrals. But yeah, finding that very vibrant 60s tropical Palm Springsy wallpaper is what we used in our first prototype room, and really influenced everything else that we did.
It's interesting that you guys like basically helped bring wallpaper back again, because like people, especially millennials, like nobody was buying wallpaper anymore. Like it was just strictly paint.
Yeah.
So all these paint stores are like, oh my gosh, like especially after your Netflix series comes out, like it's like, oh my gosh, wait, why are people so invested in wallpaper again? But before we go too far deep into this conversation, guys, I want to kind of like jump right into the Netflix special. Because I mean, Netflix, guys, this is huge. This is huge. How does Netflix stumble across your story? And what did you guys first think when they approached you?
So the story, Netflix didn't approach us.
So we've learned a lot about the television world.
And a lot of people ask us, how do I get a Netflix show? Like the reality is we have no idea how you get a Netflix show. Like no clue. It was not on our radar. It wasn't something that we were pursuing. So we have an amazing graphic designer. Her name's Jackie. She lives in California. And just so happens that she has a best friend who is a television producer who had just moved back to Toronto. Her name is Jessica Namias. And she'd moved back to Toronto, and she was, looking for her own show to create. And she's out west in Canmore on a shoot, and she's staying at this like renovated motel. And she wakes up in the middle of the night thinking, there's a story on these like old motels that were like used to be gross, and this place is kind of cute now. And she thinks, there's a show that could be made about this. And so she calls Jackie, and she's like, I need the name of the girls that own the June. I'm going to try and convince them to buy another property so that we can make a TV show. And we meet with her for the first time over drinks. And she's like prepared to convince us that we need to buy another place. And, meanwhile, we are literally putting an offer in on another motel in Sauble Beach. And it was like the perfect timing. So it was a really long process, because from that first conversation with Jess, which was like, that would have been
2018,
like fall 2018. then they had to shoot like almost like a teaser video that then got sold to a production company. The production company films another teaser video that they then used to sell to networks. And Netflix was always the dream, of course, or like at least a major streamer. But yeah, we got a call probably fall of 2019, so almost a year after the initial conversation with Jess, and said Netflix bought the show. Like we're making the show, and we started a few months after that on shooting the show.
Hey guys, my name is Stacey Bonfield and I'm the owner of Flint & Honey and Dawn & Dusk, which are both located in Perth, Ontario. Flint & Honey is a small boutique that's been open for 5 years. We carry a variety of women's clothing, accessories, as well as lots of giftware, some funny and some sweet. Dawn & Dusk is my newest venture. It's located at 38 Gore Street East. It's 2 doors down. We carry a variety of body products, journals, yoga wear, and accessories, all promoting self-care.
Hey everyone, my name is Emily and I'm a licensed financial professional here to make finances fun. I offer a variety of services to my clients, both in person or on Zoom. So whether you'd like to learn more about getting your money working harder, how to properly protect yourself and your family from unforeseen tragedy, or just want a financial blueprint to reach your goals, let's chat.
End of the Leash is a local women and veteran-owned pet boutique. Owners Tina McNish and Jillian McLellan have together over 30 years of industry experience in pet care and dog training, specializing in raw and whole foods for dogs and cats. They provide a variety of dry and wet foods to keep your best friend healthy and happy. In addition to this, they offer a selection of toys, beds, clothing, accessories, and more. End of the Leash have created a pet haven which will provide residents of the Ottawa Valley with high-quality, wholesome pet products and services. For exceptional knowledge, customer-centric care, and service, End of the Leash is your only pet boutique. Conveniently located at 3067 Petawawa Boulevard, find them right behind Gearheads and next door to Peak Hot Yoga. Or choose to ship nationally at endoftheleashpet.ca. End of the Leash, putting the pet back in Petawawa one paw at a time. It's all about who you know. Like, actually, though.
Literally.
And then that's actually really impressive, though, too, that you guys had only been in business for what, 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years. And then now you have Netflix, like a Netflix show that's going to be in the works. Like, that usually doesn't happen for people until they're more established, like at least 10 years, you'd think, in business.
Yeah.
Or, you already have like 2 properties in the works, not just one. I mean, you've been in business for 3 years and now you get the green light that Netflix is going to go ahead. So, and it's a process, like you're just saying, like it's such a process to get there. So now they're showing up, things are going to start rolling, and then COVID hits. Shit hits the fan. So the world stops, production stops, renovations and filming, everything is like halted. So not only are you guys now reasonably upset that, oh my gosh, like, is this Netflix show not going to happen? Like, what's going on? But everything's pushed back and you don't even know when construction's going to resume again. So what was that like?
Terrible. Yeah, so we started filming and renovating January 2020. And so we were at the stage, this is March 2020, where literally the worst possible spot we could be in, which was the place was completely gutted. So it's not like we could go back to operating as is, but we also couldn't move forward. So I think at one point we're just like, okay, just going to pack up our bags for a little bit. And then so grateful, like some government support started coming through. They started seeing that reopening timeline. So our plan had been, I think, maybe to open June 1st or May long weekend, and then ended up having to delay opening. Like we started seeing we could get back to work timelines. Definitely, this was the most stressful time of our lives. Cried. I think they kept thinking I was in my room, like laughing at something. I was sobbing with tears. Just the financial stress was so crazy. But anyway, ended up seeing that we'd be able to open for Labor Day weekend. in a summery beach town. So we ended up having just a 6-week season in that very first year. And yeah, meanwhile, filming a show, going through a renovation, which was like the toughest thing that we've ever done work-wise. So it was absolute craziness.
I think also, you know, they had planned to shoot about a week a month for, you know, 6 months of, you know, to create the show. But because construction stopped, when we could start construction and resume filming at the same time, it was like it was chaos. It was literally construction's moving full steam ahead. The cameras are there for all of it. Like, you're always having to look camera ready. So it felt like there was just no break. It was like the craziest 2 months before opening we'll probably ever experience in our lives.
Let's hope so.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine going through all of that. Like, that you're trying to like also oversee your other motel and business there. You're away from your families. You're away from your spouses. You guys are trying to like put on a happy face and create a show while also like getting your motel up and running by like a certain point. And then of course, like, there's shortages. Like, you guys were dealing with
lumber.
Couldn't get lumber shortages.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell like the anxiety that you guys were going through. And I just, the fact that I think that you guys all had your moral support as well as Courtney, you know, to kind of like lean on one another to get through it. And of course, lots of wine. Yeah. But I mean, I think all business owners were in that same boat.
Yeah.
But I mean, how cool is it, like, well, how cool is it, you know, to look back on, you know, your show now and be like, oh, the anxiety, the pressures, the stress, like, not fun. Yeah. No, that's just insane.
And I think it's cool too. Like, I always think when we have guests in Sauble now and the lumber shortage, like, I think we hadn't secured lumber to finish our pool deck until maybe it was a week before opening.
I want to say
it was days.
It was like days.
There was no glass on the pool deck until like the day before opening.
Yeah.
And like, you know, the show sort of summarizes it all, but it felt like every single day there was a catastrophic disaster to try and solve every day. And then at the end of the day, you'd be like, okay, solve that one. And then it would be like the next day, the same thing.
But it was almost a good thing though, because it made for a hit show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally like a reality show that like was constantly throwing curveballs at you guys that you're like, wait, as shitty as this is, it's good content. And like the producers are probably like, yes. Like,
every disaster you would see like the light in their eyes.
I always think like, you know, I think they, you know, tried to get like personal angles, you know, your relationship or my relationship and living away from our boyfriends and our husbands, and you know, they didn't need any additional drama in the end. Like the pandemic was enough drama for the entire show. But yeah, it was in retrospect.
Did they want to include more personal aspects or even create storylines for you guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think when it first started filming, like there's a lot. We shot a lot that never made it into the show.
And everything was like truly real. Like, it wasn't creating storylines, but yeah, there were like little things that they would like get really excited about, which again, it ended up being like a pretty fast pace. Like, there was a lot to fit into those 6 episodes.
Now, you guys were obviously like 2 of the most important characters on the show, but we can't forget about Rick.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, Rick was a fan favorite for everybody.
Absolutely.
But like, just his natural commentary and just, you know, his in quotations excitement about everything. I mean, the bathroom selfie, like,
oh god,
where did you guys find Rick?
Local contractor. We interviewed a few different ones, and he really he came through in the end. I think he secretly like really enjoyed all of the pink and all of the like the June-ness of it, and his crew was so great as well. So yeah, he
was just a great character, you know, that like an unintentional person that you never knew that you needed in your life. Yeah. And he was there and just became family. Do you guys still keep in touch with Rick? Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So Motel Makeover premiered on August 25th, 2021. So after it hits the big screens and you guys like see the realness of everything, what was the response like?
It was amazing in so many ways. I mean, the show aired in, I think, 191 countries around the world. So, we're getting messages from people in Australia and Brazil and across Europe. And I mean, that's really crazy to put a town like Sauble Beach on the map in such a global way. And so that felt really good. And the response was really amazing. We'd be getting messages from people saying, you inspired me to start this thing that I've been thinking about for the last 10 years. And I think that's really inspirational. And like, I think it's one of the reasons we even decided to do a show is, if our story can encourage somebody to take that leap or pursue that thing that they're going to be incredibly passionate about doing, then that's worth it to us, because we really believe that the leap that we took was so worthwhile.
I think one of the things that I wasn't expecting was like the amount of young girls, like 10-year-olds, tweens
It's a
loved,
market.
they loved the show. And I just think like, I didn't have someone like that to sort of look up to when I was watching. I don't even know if we had reality television when I was a tween. But being able to inspire that generation to become entrepreneurs really means a lot to us.
Yeah.
I think having a producer too that saw a unique vision and really spotlighting two young entrepreneurs, because like you were kind of saying, Sarah, that when we saw reality shows, it's all about celebrities, like we grew up with the Hills and Laguna Beach and the Kardashians, and those are all high profile figures. And when you're actually spotlighting like two young entrepreneurs who like left their careers, went all in and are embarking and navigating an unprecedented time like the pandemic, that is so inspiring to young people, but especially young women. To say you can really manifest your dreams and embark on them and be successful. And I think that's just so refreshing in our generation. And you guys are really like setting the bar high for the next generation of Gen Zs, to be able to do that. So I think that's really cool. And that's really great for your producer to have had that idea and to be able to launch that.
I mean, that's very much her. She's very much about female empowerment and like wanting to encourage women to like, live boldly and like pursue their dreams at whatever cost. And so I think that's what happens when you surround yourself with, people like that and like-minded people. I think together, like what we were able to create with somebody like Jess is really powerful.
Babes supporting babes all the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to kind of hone in on, and I know like I don't always like talking about the pandemic, but everybody had to really pivot, especially business owners. Like everybody had to get creative and come up with unique ideas and ways to like get people to shop and support local, and also to travel locally. Like Ontario had come out with a staycation tax credit, and tourist organizations were trying to help their industries, but by staying open. But I mean, that really fell on you guys as business owners. Everybody was working remotely. They were working from home. People weren't leaving anywhere, but you guys really created like a unique setting to entice people to come to the June Motels and stay there. And you guys also opened up a shop so that people could shop online, get all your unique retro items and furniture pieces and just unique decor, but also like come and stay and play, as they dubbed it, for remote settings. So what was that like? How was the response for that?
I think one thing, we're a motel, so you literally don't have to walk through like a lobby to check in. You don't have to get into an elevator. It was a really safe destination for people to get out of their homes and experience a vacation. And I think the fact that we could give people that getaway that they really needed was huge. I mean, I know so many businesses struggled, and we had our fair share of struggles as well. But the fact that, we could play such a role in like positivity for people, I think was really powerful and went a long way. And, we were full, like for both summers when we could be open, we were full. And so that was such a saving grace for our business, frankly. And we do things like, here we did a DIY picnic package. And so we'd load up like this little rattan basket with like your placemats and your napkins and some cute tableware and like a little vase for the table. You could go back, you could get your takeout from like one of the local businesses in town. And you'd go back to the picnic tables and you'd set up like this beautiful Instagram-worthy picnic. And it's beautiful back there. You've got a view of the Picton Bay and the sun setting over the motel. So we found ways to have really memorable experiences while still being safe. Yeah. Anything to add?
I think, yeah, the online store was an adventure. It was a lot of work. It had its moments of success. And I think, like, yeah, there was a peak during the pandemic when online shopping was like one of the few joys that there were. And the show had just launched. So yeah, it was a good experience. We ended up closing it a year and a bit later.
Yeah.
Because also it was really time consuming and it was a distraction for us from our core business. Like, we love operating these destinations so much and creating these experiences. So we're sort of happy to be putting that behind us and give ourselves the mental space to be able to focus on growing this part of the business that we love so much.
That makes sense. Although, I mean, it was a unique idea to be able to kind of like say that you can shop and purchase merch and decor and stuff, to say like, I have that. So anybody that actually did actually purchase things from the June, like, I mean, they're going to be able to have
and
those
you can
forever.
still buy things from the June, but we have physical gift shops at both locations. I think running an online store and marketing products in an online business,
it's a lot of work.
It's a totally different business.
Yeah.
And we just, we don't have the bandwidth to manage two different businesses.
So, April, taking a personal turn, you welcomed a baby last year, and you're also a NICU mom.
Yeah.
So how has navigating motherhood and being an entrepreneur shifted? And how have you learned to prioritize and balance being a working mom?
Ooh, all good questions. I think I went into it all, like, frankly, a little naive. I remember saying to Sarah, I think I'm going to take like 30 days off. That was going to be my mat leave. And I mean, in the end, like, we had a bit of a rough start in the NICU, and it was 3 months before I even took my baby home. And it was a challenge figuring out how to juggle everything that I wanted in my life and prioritize everything. I'd say it's like a year later, and I'm just now, like, I feel very settled in that. We have childcare. I have an amazing partner who's, like, so supportive and so helpful, frankly. That allows me to kind of get back on my feet and have an amazing career and also have a family.
And Sarah must have been really instrumental in that too, to be able to kind of take over everything for that period of time, letting you settle and navigate postpartum and all the emotions. And again, like, because you had your baby at such an early stage in your pregnancy, like, that takes an emotional toll on you. And so, Sarah, like, the fact that you were able to probably be that emotional support for April and to still keep business going and just kind of be able to kind of like work off one another to be each other's, like, supportive partners.
I think, like, without a business partner, I have no idea what I would have done. I think that would have been really scary. And, like, thank God I have somebody who, can step up and, take the lead on things. And I think that's the nice thing about having a business partner in general. Like, if one person's having a bad day or a bad week or a bad year, frankly, the other can, like, pick up a bit of that slack and, like, we kind of pull each other out of funks all the time. And so having a business partner has probably been, like, an absolute game changer. I would not want to do this without Sarah ever. I think it would be incredibly hard.
And we have a great team as well. We're the faces, but there's, like, people at both properties day in, day out. We're a 24/7 business that, made the past year possible, really.
Yeah.
So, ladies, one of the things I really like talking to business owners about is really what's all going on behind the scenes, because unless you're an entrepreneur, you really don't get it. You don't really understand all the work that goes into things. So someone from the outside might look and say, these two guys, like, they haven't made in the shade. Their motels closed down for the winter months, like, because they're only seasonal. So they're probably living their best lives. But you guys are, but also like still doing a lot of work, and there's still a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes. So let's like kind of hone in on that a little bit and give us an idea and a taste of like what you guys are doing when the motels are closed.
I find it's actually almost our busier time of year. I think April and I are both really appreciative. So my husband moved to Bermuda. So I head there in the winter. April heads to Arizona or wherever. Neither of us are big fans of winter. So it's awesome to have a job that gives us the flexibility to be somewhere else, but we still work really hard over the winter. It's our time to like readjust processes, do renovations, repairs, usually review our systems, what's working, what's not working. We did a big switch on one of our systems over this year. So we move into this sort of project mode of stuff that happens behind the scenes.
So what can motel goers expect to experience this summer at the June?
So new for this summer in Sauble Beach this past winter, actually since the fall, we've been working on a big patio on the backside of the lobby bar. So if you saw Motel Makeover, it was like the little cute A-frame building, which is so awesome in the inside. But some of the feedback that we got was everyone loved the communal campfire experience from Prince Edward County. And so we really wanted to bring that to Sauble Beach. And so we built this amazing back patio. It's got 3 campfires on it, an outdoor bar. We've got a pretty amazing new like cocktail and wine program going on back there as well. So I think it's just going to really add to the overall experience and give people just another space to be and another experience to have on property, especially that like pre and post dinner time. We've got yoga, we've got live music. What else do we have?
And Prince Edward County is so fun too. So I think a lot of what's happening here is just like the same old great June Motel experience. Not a whole lot new happening at the motel, but Prince Edward County is cool because there's like 10 new things every month that are exciting. New restaurants, new distilleries and meaderies and so it's great. People love to come back year after year and explore both their favorite places in the county and also what's new.
Well, I mean, and you guys are a brand that's developing and growing. Like you guys are crossing all the things off your bucket list. You've done you've done the Netflix series. I mean, I don't really know how you can really top that, but you do, right? Like you keep growing and expanding and thinking of new ways to bring attention to the June because you want to keep enticing people to work here. So like one of the things I just noticed recently is that you guys partnered with the Birds Papaya for a giveaway, like working with influencers. But I just want to know, like, are you guys planning on expanding or renovating more or working with any high profile influencers or even just women in general?
We're really focused. We are focused on growing the June. I think since probably 2020, we've been thinking about where that next property is. I think now is absolutely the right time for us to like dive into that. So like when we're not busy in the business, we're busy working on the business. And we're driving around Ontario and like looking at places for sale and scouring the real estate apps and running the numbers and seeing what places really make sense for us. We're talking to investors. We're doing all of that behind the scenes work to hopefully have a 3rd property in the works by the end of this year.
Incredible. That's
We'll see.
exciting.
We'll see.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you know what? Like just even having that goal and that vision in mind. I mean, entrepreneurs, like our brains never stop working. Like they're constantly on the go. We're constantly coming up with new ideas and we're forward thinkers, I think, like we're always just looking at ways to get bigger and be better as well.
I think for us, like the creative process of finding that place and reimagining the entire experience, like that's what we're really passionate about. And so we're eager to get back to doing that kind of work.
We're eager, and yet we are like exercising patience to really find it has to be at the right destination. It has to be the right property. Like the financials need to work. So it's exercise in patience, but we're hoping for one sometime soon.
Well, Sarah, like just even watching like you on the Netflix special, like you can tell that you are a really smart thinker and you don't decide to like make decisions that hasty. Well, April, I feel like you're a little bit more like me, being like, let's go with the pink, and Sarah's more like, well, let's not. Let's kind of wait a little bit. And I think that you need that though, in a partnership. And I think that that's what makes you guys so dynamic and so successful too, you know, being able to have that balance off of each other, but not being as hasty, because you actually like have inspired me to kind of like take that step back and not always say yes and say no. Like, let's wait. Let's wait till the right time. Let's wait to work with the right people. And we don't have to say yes to every opportunity that is presented to us.
We really love the quote. It's if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Yeah.
So you need to be passionate about it. You need to like feel it's right in all ways, because we've realized like there's way more opportunities that come our way than we have the energy, time, money to do.
And what are the opportunities that are really going to change our business for the better, you know, versus just keep us busy in the business. And we've sort of realized that was a lot of what we were doing before. And we need to, like, if we want to focus on growth, we have to reprioritize the actual work related to growth.
All right, ladies. Well, as we're closing in on our conversation here, I do have a couple more questions. Sure. These can be found in my Rapid 10. Always a fan favorite. These questions you do not know.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
Nope.
I was going to say, have another sip of wine and away we go.
All right.
Okay. So who has been your most high profile guest to stay at the June so far?
Are we allowed
Can't
to
say.
Can't say.
No, gotta protect the privacy, but it was huge.
Big
Absolutely
female
huge.
country star.
Hey.
I didn't say who.
Yeah.
If you could host anybody at the June, who would it be?
Ooh, the cast of Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite moments while filming Motel Makeover?
I think the very, very beginning, because it was all so new and so exciting, and then the very, very end and being done with it.
The jump in the pool scene.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good way to like wrap things up too.
Yeah.
I like that one. Where's Courtney now?
Living her best life out on the West Coast.
Good for her.
Yeah. Got married, has a dog.
Oh, amazing.
Living the dream.
Good for her. One of the barriers that you guys had at your Sauble Beach location was with the pool. So if you couldn't move forward with replacing the pool, what was plan B?
We didn't have one.
Yeah.
It had to work.
Yeah. Just an empty pit.
Will there be another Netflix season 2?
First, we need Motel number 3.
If you could pick one word to summarize Contractor Rick, what would it be?
Quiet?
Shy?
Maybe.
If you could describe each other in one word, what would it be?
Ooh.
Impulsive? I don't know. It's kind of a negative word.
Supportive.
Oh, thanks.
What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone who wants to go into business themselves?
I think find something you're passionate about, because it's going to be a heck of a lot of work. So might as well love what you're doing.
And who is one Canadian boss babe that inspires both of you that you guys think everyone should know about?
Joanna Griffiths from NYX, I'd say. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people do already know about her. But I think she's, you know, really adding to the conversation of body positivity and changing the way women think about their bodies.
That's a great plug. Yeah. Now, guys, can you tell everybody where they can find the June Motel, both of your locations in person, on the socials, and if you guys are still booking for the summer, because I know spots are booking up fast.
We still have rooms for the summer, a lot of weekdays, some limited weekends are still available. So now is certainly the moment to be planning a summer getaway. You can find us at thejunemotel.com and on Instagram at thejunemotel.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast and saying a hell yes instead of a hell no. And just thank you guys for being so supportive and being mentors in my own journey.
Thank you so much for having us. This was so fun.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.